She discovers that it's convenient and popular to use words like feminism and sisterhood, and so for her own political and commercial gain, she's doing that. But I'm really offended by her tactics, and I'm sorry that so many women are falling for it, because it is fake.
I've always said that woman does not need as much TV time as we give her. You know, let her go, let her write books, let her make television shows, make money, that's okay. I don't think she's coming back as a presidential candidate. We don't have to worry about it. But the job of grizzly mamas, recruiting, that's very good. Let her do it. Folks, you know, D.C. government has approved the law of growing marijuana. Now, you understand it's going to be for medicinal purposes, and there's going to be 3 or 5 clinics, I don't remember how many, that they're going to allow. But there was a wonderful article in Washington Post. They say, don't smoke marijuana, eat marijuana, or make a juice of it because, you know, it's bitter. Mm-hmm. Now, the difference is, and this is very important for you to understand, even NIH is in on it.
Wow.
2 of their scientists are part of the patent. Now, what they are saying is there are 2 types of marijuana plants. One has got CBD, and one has got THC.
Okay.
There's more of THC because everybody wants to get high. But it should have more of CBD, which is just a panacea for almost every disease you have. It'll cure you of it, including lupus, which is very hard to do. And there's this doctor in California who just recommends this. And I want to make sure that the D.C. government is paying attention. Maybe they should make sure that only CBD marijuana is allowed and not a THC.
Well, it's good that you mentioned that NIH is involved, because certainly in a situation like this, you want the research to back up what variety of marijuana would have the medicinal properties that can really help people in need. So it really becomes more of an issue of health, not an issue of getting high.
That's right. And by the way, you know, ATF and the others have not taken marijuana off the list. It is still a drug.
Well, you know what? We want people to be safe with it. I think that's what matters. Also on the subject of food, last year we talked a bit about the sugar shortages around the world, and India and Brazil being the world's largest sugar producers. There were all kinds of scarcities and prices going up. Things are starting to come back to normal now, and you know, that fear has subsided. And I was really interested in this article from BBC about how Brazil uses sugar. You know that Brazil produces ethanol from sugar, and
sugar canes, yeah.
And from that sugar cane, it fuels their cars, and they're way ahead of the game when it comes to biofuel, because they started this program to research and develop the technology back in the 1970s.
That's right.
You know, so this is not a new thing for the Brazilians, but I did not know that this fuel being produced by sugar cane is also being used to produce electricity, and some of those sugar cane plants are self-sufficient entirely, because that electricity then fuels the plant itself, and so you're not using up other resources. They're really continuing to expand the ways in which they can use sugar effectively, and I think the rest of the world has a lot to learn from that.
You know, we also produce sugar, but we produce sugar through corn, and which is what so many people are blaming for the obesity in America. You need granulated sugar. You need that. But we have a lot more corn, so that's what we are using.
Well,
and by the way,
subsidize the corn industry. That's why we have so much corn.
15% of gasoline is ethanol, which is made out of corn.
But the problem is that it takes a lot of energy to produce that ethanol. So what's unique about Brazil is that they're becoming self-sufficient even in the production of the ethanol that's coming from sugarcane. That's unlike the way that we're doing it here.
Folks, a couple of weeks ago we told you an Indian American called Yelamancheli from Ohio, a Democrat candidate, won his primary. So in fall he's going to run for the Congress. Now we have another candidate, and his name is Manant Trivedi. He is also very well qualified. He's a physician, a returning veteran of Iraq War. And he really wants to help his constituents. He's a Democrat. He had a squeaker. He won by 50.6% versus 48 point something. He's an excellent candidate. I have heard him. I have followed his speeches. Now,